I started this journey of trial by fire, basically. This was it. This was either going to make me or break me, this trial. And so for over a year and a half's time, I think I might have went to 14 doctors. They were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. There was something autoimmune going on. There was something not right going on in my system. I was admitted to Columbia Presbyterian in 2004. A neurologist by the name of Dr. David Adams, which he's got 2 biblical names, which I find interesting. Wonderful man, admits me to the hospital because my blood pressure at this point is 70/40. I'm not functioning well at all. I'm incredibly thin at this point in my life because of what my body was enduring. And I can't walk. So I'm having a lot of trouble walking. Like my brain and my legs were not friends at that point in time. And so he admits me and he diagnoses me with something called POTS syndrome, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And he said there's an autoimmune issue going on in your body that I can't quite pinpoint, but I know it's there. Well, what had happened really is the enemy saw an opportunity. He took a pot shot, and my nervous system, my immune system turned on my nervous system and attacked it till it damaged it. So my body was at war within itself, basically. Yeah. And so I ended up going to Burke Rehabilitation Hospital that year and spending Christmas and New Year's in there because I couldn't walk. And they couldn't send me home because I had to learn how to walk all over again.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, so I had to do this twice during that 17 years. So I had to learn.
You had to learn how to walk 2 times.
Two times. The second one was worse than this one.
Oh my gosh!
So this one I had some use of my legs, but it was incredibly weak, and I could not walk far. And so I was in Burke. And what was interesting is that the Lord kept allowing me to go into these places. And he would put somebody before me that needed ministering to. So in the middle of my trial, I would have to minister about who God is and what he's capable of. And there was a gentleman named Michael. He was 17 years old, lived in the South Bronx. He had been jumped and paralyzed from the chest down. It was horrible. And Michael was angry. He was angry at the world. He was not cooperating with the therapists. So they got this idea, let's put Amanda with Michael and see what happens. This is what they did. And I basically tied a bandana around my head and I challenged him to a game of Connect 4. I went up in my wheelchair and I challenged him to a game. And from that moment, I had an in with Michael. And Michael accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior before he left Burke.
Wow.
So that is how all this started.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So when did you begin actually like hearing the voice of God and realizing, because you said that you knew that you had a prophetic gifting since you were a child, but at least in my experience, like there's patterns of having a prophetic gifting as a child, but I ran away from the Lord like big time in high school. And then it was later in my life when I gave my life to the Lord that he connected the dots in retrospect. And I was like, that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. But at what point did you realize, okay, I'm called to be a prophetic voice for my generation?
That was probably, I would say, at the age of 26 is when it was a defining moment in my life. And okay. I had very prophetic dreams up to that point. And that one of those times I audibly heard in the dream the voice of the Lord. And he all I heard was the Gentiles shall inherit the riches of the kingdom as well, which was interesting. And I had a dream at that age, about 26 years old. And in that dream, I was in an enormous room that I couldn't see to the back of. It was just so huge I couldn't even see the back of it. And there were so many tables going all the way back. And there was a different nation at each table. And I was preaching to the nations. So I have this dream. I'm not talking about this dream, even though I've had it. I'm not discussing it with anyone. And a woman who was very prophetic at the church I was going to, Faith Assembly, in Poughkeepsie, New York, now it's called the Gathering of Faith Assembly, came over. Her name was Brigitte. And she said, Amanda, I want to pray for you. Because I was really, at that point in my life, I was home from the hospital for a while, but I was on IVIG treatments every 2 weeks. And IVIG are human white blood cells being put into your body intravenously to give you an immune system you don't have. It's a form of chemo, is what it is. And so basically I was on those every 2 weeks, couldn't work, was at home. and kind of on a shelf in a way. And so Brigitte comes over and she prays over me. And as she starts to pray, she stops and she looks at me and she says, Amanda, the Lord is going to raise you up into a prophetic ministry. And it is going to be a driving force in the world. And it's going to be a different kind of ministry because God is going to build it brick by brick himself. And you're going to let him. And this is also going to have a healing aspect to it. She doesn't know I've had this dream. Now she gives me this word.
Oh, wow.
And at this moment, it was defining for me. I knew something was going on. I didn't quite understand it. I didn't understand the enormity of what that meant, what she had just said to me and spoken over my life. But I realized there was a call on my life at that moment.
When did you start to see that actually manifest? Like, what could you, let's go back to like when you first started stepping out in that gift and then started to see the things that God was revealing to you prophetically actually come into pass.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another video like it, you can just click right over here. Or if you want to see my other channel, Directed Life, full-length interviews and really deep conversations, you can click over here.